Jolene finally broke her silence, and the timing was impossible to ignore. For weeks, fans had been watching the latest uploads from Bad Chad Customs, and asking the same question over and over again: why was Emily suddenly everywhere? She wasn't just behind the camera anymore. She was becoming part of the story, laughing with Chad, standing beside the builds, and appearing in moments that once belonged to Jolene. It started to look like she wasn't just helping with the channel anymore. She was becoming part of its identity. When Jolene finally spoke, her words hit harder than anyone expected. Her silence wasn't because she had nothing to say or because she didn't understand what was happening. It was because she knew exactly what would happen if she spoke out. Every video would be analyzed, every comment would turn into a debate, and every small detail would become evidence in the eyes of the internet. She knew how quickly a personal situation could become a public battle. But what finally pushed her to speak wasn't simply Emily being around. It was the pattern. Emily wasn't appearing once or twice as a temporary helper. She wasn't just filming a few moments for the channel. She was being featured, highlighted, and placed directly beside Chad. Fans began noticing something they couldn't ignore. The person who once stood beside Chad through everything was no longer there, and someone new had stepped into that space. For Jolene, it wasn't just about another person joining the team. It was about watching something she helped build slowly change into something she no longer recognized. She wasn't just part of the background. She was part of the foundation. She was there through the chaos, the struggles, the behind-the-scenes problems, and the moments when keeping everything together wasn't easy. Seeing someone else suddenly become the new constant presence felt different. It felt personal. Fans started connecting the dots. They noticed the new energy around the channel, the different style, the constant appearances, and the way Emily was becoming more visible with every upload. The channel still had the same name, but some viewers felt like they were watching a completely different version of Bad Chad Customs. It felt like a reboot, a new chapter where Jolene was missing, and Emily had taken the place beside Chad. Rumors began spreading. Some fans claimed Emily was more than just a new employee, while others connected her appearance to the rumors surrounding Chad and Jolene's relationship. There was no confirmed proof from the videos themselves, but viewers continued to speculate based on what they were seeing. The biggest issue for Jolene wasn't only what people were saying online. It was watching Chad move forward publicly while she remained silent. Because silence can easily be misunderstood. Silence can allow people to believe a story before the truth is ever explained. Jolene understood that. She didn't want a public fight or endless online drama, but watching Emily appear again and again made it harder to stay quiet. To Jolene, it wasn't just about someone filming videos. It represented something much bigger, a message, a reminder, and a feeling that everything she helped create was being rewritten without her. And that was the part that hurt the most. Leaving wasn't about giving up. It wasn't about wanting a different life for no reason. It was about reaching a point where staying became impossible. The hardest part for Jolene wasn't simply seeing Emily appear on camera. It was watching the world move on as if nothing had happened. Every new upload became another reminder, another video, another moment where Chad looked comfortable while Jolene was left watching from a distance. To the audience, it looked like a fresh start. But to Jolene, it felt like history was being erased. The channel felt different. The energy was different. The person standing beside Chad was different. Fans began asking a bigger question. Was this really a new chapter for Bad Chad Customs, or was it a replacement for everything that came before? Because Emily wasn't just holding a camera anymore. She was becoming part of the brand. She was appearing in the shop, involved in the builds, and included in moments that made viewers feel like she had always been there. That was what made the situation harder for Jolene. It wasn't one appearance or one video. It was the consistency. The repeated message being shown to the audience. Chad was moving forward, and someone else was now standing in the place Jolene once occupied. People close to Jolene believed she wasn't simply upset, she was hurt. There was a difference. This wasn't about jealousy. It was about feeling replaced after years of commitment. Behind every successful channel, there are people viewers don't always see, the ones handling problems, fixing mistakes, and keeping everything running when things become difficult. According to those who supported Jolene, she wasn't just another person in the background. She was someone who helped hold everything together. She helped create the story people connected with. She helped make the chaos feel organized. She helped turn a shop into something audiences wanted to follow. So watching someone else step into that world so quickly felt like watching her own contribution disappear. The pain wasn't only about Emily. Emily represented something bigger. She represented the moment Jolene realized things had changed. The moment she understood she couldn't keep fighting to protect something that no longer protected her. That was why Jolene's silence mattered. She wasn't staying quiet because she was powerless. She was staying quiet because she knew speaking out would create a storm. But storms eventually arrive when people hold too much inside. When Jolene finally decided to speak, she didn't come out angry. She didn't come out trying to destroy anyone. She came out controlled and calm, like someone who had spent months carrying a weight nobody else could see. Her message wasn't about revenge. It was about being heard. She wanted people to understand that leaving wasn't a sudden decision. It wasn't because she stopped caring. It was because she had reached a point where caring was no longer enough. For years, Jolene had been dealing with the pressure behind the scenes, the problems viewers never saw, the moments that never made it into videos, and the struggles behind the finished builds. Eventually, the exhaustion became too much. Sometimes people don't leave because they don't love something anymore. Sometimes they leave because they have given everything they can, and staying begins to cost more than they can carry. Sometimes people leave because staying costs too much. And when Emily continued appearing in the videos, it reopened those wounds. From Jolene's perspective, it wasn't just Chad creating content anymore. It felt like Chad was creating a new reality, one where the past seemed forgotten and the person who helped build everything was no longer part of the picture. But Jolene wasn't asking anyone to bring her back. She wasn't asking for a place in the shop again, and she wasn't asking to return to the chaos. What she wanted was something much simpler. Recognition. Recognition that she mattered. Recognition that she was part of the journey. Recognition that she wasn't just someone who could be replaced when circumstances changed. That was the message many fans connected with, because at the center of this story wasn't only a channel, it was about loyalty. As the situation continued to unfold, fans started looking beyond the videos. They weren't just watching the cars being built anymore. They were watching the people, the reactions, the body language, and the moments between the words. When a relationship changes publicly, audiences naturally start searching for the things that aren't being said. For many viewers, the biggest question wasn't only about Emily, it was about Chad. Why was he allowing this new dynamic to become so visible? Why was someone connected to so much speculation suddenly placed at the center of the channel? Whether people supported Chad or Jolene, one thing was clear. Something had changed. The old version of the channel felt like a partnership, a team, a story built by more than one person. But now, viewers felt like they were watching a different version, one focused around Chad moving forward. And that change created a divide among the audience. Some fans immediately stood behind Jolene. They believed she deserved more respect after everything she had contributed. They remembered the years she spent supporting the channel and keeping things together behind the scenes. To them, she wasn't just part of Chad's story. She helped create that story. Others defended Chad. They argued that people change, relationships end, and everyone has the right to continue their life. They believed that moving forward wasn't automatically wrong. Then there was a third group, viewers, who weren't choosing sides. They weren't defending anyone. They were simply watching everything unfold. Because at the end of the day, controversy creates attention, attention creates views, and views keep channels alive. But Jolene's decision to speak changed the entire conversation. Before that, everything existed as rumors and speculation. After she spoke, people started looking at the situation differently. The audience wasn't only watching the builds anymore. They were watching the story behind them. Every interaction became something people analyze. Every appearance became something people questioned. Every decision became part of a much bigger conversation. While fans waited for Chad to respond, something interesting happened. He didn't directly address it. There was no major explanation, no detailed statement, and no public confrontation. The uploads continued. Emily continued appearing, and to some viewers, that silence spoke louder than words. They felt like Chad was choosing to let the content